Okay, hello everybody out there. Today what we're going to be showing you is we're going to be talking a bit about amending your soil for your dragon fruit cactus so that this upcoming flowering season you know that you've done your part to keep these very hungry plants satisfied and providing them with an excellent source of nutrients that usually is available in their region. We got to remember that these plants come from tropical America areas, and in America where the weather is very tropical to subtropical. Alright, so let's start talking a bit of what we have here. So first, of course, you want to start with organic fertilizer. My style is organic. I choose organic fertilizer. I'm not going to really talk about why, but basically, to make a long story short, there's things that you can't buy in the supermarket no matter how much you would be willing to spend. A lot of items aren't being sold to us organically. A lot of the items are GMO. They may contain harmful pesticides slash synthetic fertilizers. So basically, if I'm gonna do gardening at home, I wanna feel confident and I wanna have that ease of tranquility that the fruit that I'm gonna produce at home is actually gonna be better than any fruit I could ever find sold in a supermarket. So it's just something to think about. Alright, the fertilizer I have here is basically, like I said, organic, and it's 476. So basically what we're looking for is that we want to have the middle number higher than the rest, and the nitrogen and all that other stuff. This fertilizer actually has mycorrhiza, and you may want to look into other fertilizers that also contain probiotics in the Bacillus family and in the Lactobacillus family. Those are all probiotics that can also be found in organic fertilizers to amend your soil. By the way, for those of you who may not know, mycorrhiza is a good type of bacteria. What it does is that in nature it's found in the roots of the plants and it attaches to them. It's like a symbiotic relationship. So basically, when the mycorrhiza, which is a good bacteria, attaches itself into your root system, into the plant's root system, it makes the plant become more efficient as far as absorbing nutrients from the soil. So it's a win-win situation. Alright, next what we have here is that we use trace minerals. These aren't just any trace minerals, these are C90 Trace Minerals. These are what it is basically, it's dry sea solids. So you may have heard of azomite, which is rock dust, which is excellent as well, a very good product. I could personally use either one. I just happen to use what I have at hand, and today I happen to have the C90 Trace Minerals. Over 90 minerals are in this, everything that's found in the ocean, versus the rock dust, which is mined and usually on average contains about 70 trace minerals. So the reason I add these into my plants is to give them a bit of everything that's out there. Let them choose what they want to pick up from the soil, just like how it is in nature. Next, what we have is another mineral, which is known as Epsom salt or magnesium sulfate. What magnesium does, or the Epsom salt does, is that first of all, it's great for your overall color of your plant. If you're into green foliage, or in this case the dragon fruit has a lot of green in it, the green stems, it makes the color tone overall uniform. It also helps with producing stronger roots, especially when you have a cutting and you're starting off a cutting. You want to introduce Epsom salt into that soil mix, because Epsom salt will promote stronger root growth. Also, believe it or not, it does have it plays factors in the flowering process. So it's always good to have Epsom salt in your soil. Okay, and then we also have our organic soil. This organic soil that I'm using today is actually from the Kellogg brand, as you can see here. It's a pretty basic soil mix, and I have had no problems using it. You can also find the cactus mix, which is a good alternative also to this when you're using it for your dragon fruit or cacti in general. Okay, next we have worm castings. These are the Worm Gold Plus worm castings, which I highly recommend. Okay, but here's the key information I want to share with you. These worm castings, they're high in so many nutrients, but they specifically have chitinase producing organisms. So for those of you who may not know, chitin is the substance that insects exoskeletons are made of, you know, that hard shell that they have. So when insects can detect chitinase, so they don't have to necessarily ingest the plant or the soil around it, they can detect it. So within a couple weeks, I'd say, they'll leave your area, they'll leave your plants, and they'll go towards some plants that are less healthy or unhealthy. So what we're doing in a way is that we're providing so much health and so much nutrients for our plants that there's studies have been done that weaker plants tend to be attacked more by insects. That's the law of nature. You know, when you're in the jungle, or if you're, for example, what do animals do that like vultures, lions? They usually go after animals that are weak. And that's the same role that some of the bad insects, non-beneficial insects, they all have their purpose, and that's, I think, the role that they play. That when a plant is weak, their job is to eliminate it, so those genes don't get passed on into future plants. So basically, it's the rule of only the strong survive. And lastly, what I forgot to add here on the table is organic free-range brown eggshells. It could be white, it doesn't matter. Basically, why eggshells? Well, you have to remember that dragon fruit is a cactus, and cactus plants do need calcium in order to thrive and survive. So the good thing about using organic fertilizers is that most of them, but don't quote me, most of them do come with other nutrients besides your NPK. So that's always a good thing. But what you can do to ensure that you're getting calcium in your soil is you want to either grind up or break down eggshells more or less to the consistency that you see here, and then just add them into your soil, and little by little calcium will be released into your soil. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Those are the key items that I add to my amending of my soil. You could do this in spring, you could do it in early summer, you could even do it in maybe in late summer before the last flush of flowers on your dragon fruit. It all is depending on where you live, what your climate is, what season you're in. So I hope you find this information helpful. What I'm going to do now is that we're going to mix all these ingredients up for you, and then we're going to later show you how we add them to our soil. Alright everybody, so now after mixing our ingredients for the soil, there we have the finished product, and it's all ready to go into the top layer of our pot, which will show you how we're gonna lay that out in just a second here. Okay, now this dragon fruit plant here at the base looks pretty much clean. And what I also did is I went ahead and just with my fingers here, I went in and loosened some of the topsoil of the plant. Now you don't want to go in too hard in there by moving things really deep, just slightly, because you got to remember that these plants are epiphytic in nature, and one trait that they have is that their roots are very, very shallow. So if you dig too deep, you're going to damage the roots. So just slightly, you want to aerate, I guess, and you want to just scratch a little bit of the top surface of the soil so that it'll mix in well with what we're going to add. So just poured some on the top here, and what I'm doing is I'm just very lightly scratching it into the bottom layer of soil that was there. And here I have another little shoot or side stem that's growing. I didn't see that. I'm gonna have to cut that off as well. So that's pretty much it. All that's left now is for us to water it, and you're good to go. Okay, I think that's a wrap. Thank you for watching, and as always, happy dragon adventures, everybody.